Hey everyone, Catch 'em All Collectibles here. In today's video, the time has come. Pokemon investment YouTubers have gone too far, and I just need to respond to some of the videos that I've seen out there. And the main video I'm going to respond to, that one that was made last week. My own video. Going to be a little bit of a weird video. I've got a long notes list of ideas and topics that I want to cover. I thought I pulled it off fairly well. The way that it came through, I mean, being sub 10 minutes, you kind of knew you weren't going to be getting the normal Dan video. But yeah, I'm going to talk about that. What parts of it were a joke, what parts of it weren't. Not actually calling out anyone in particular, just like that video wasn't. So I guess the ironic part of the April Fools was there were some April Fools out there that went and took it out of context, that went and took it as an attack, when I thought I did a pretty clear job at attacking this, actually like straw manning this individual that I hope doesn't exist. I hope I went so extreme that no one could exist. We're going to go into the spreadsheet. We're going to go into the breakdown. I had this theoretical person that made $69,420 off affiliate links, which I have no problem with, off YouTube ad revenue, which I have no problem with. I make money through both of those means. But yeah, we'll see where this goes. We'll see how long this goes, but I have a lot of notes, and let's just hop right into the video. So, I mean, these were real numbers. Let me go back to the very start. As I said, oh, you can't see it here, but as I said, I had the one in the top corner there, April 1st. The numbers don't lie. Like, all my disclaimers, I'm gonna do my best to move away from the disclaimers moving ahead. I feel like I've made. You can never get everyone to watch all your videos. Not everyone will ever have all the context, but like the get rich quick, the shortcuts, the one with the born losers thumbnail. I've done a lot to disclaim what I do personally. This whole YouTube channel is my journey. The whole YouTube channel is how I max out all my retirement accounts first, and yada yada, blah blah blah. But these numbers are actually the real numbers. The S&P 500, a couple of people pointed out, not including reinvesting dividends, which if you're inside of a tax advantage accounts, you're not paying taxes on those dividends as you go. You're getting a lot more benefit from it. But obviously, standing at the top, going on 30 years later, what are we, 28 years later from the Japanese release, 25 years later from the Pokemon release. I always say there's so much risk when you're standing at the summit, when you're standing at the peak, like the boom of booms in a collectible hobby. There's risk in saying every box has gone up, so every box will go up. But 25 years, I am quite bullish, quite confident in Pokemon. I think that Pokemon will outlive me. I mean, I hope it does. Not through me going too soon, me living till 80 to 100, and then Pokemon living millennia upon millennia. Who knows what will happen, but I'm fairly confident Pokemon will be here in 2100, and I likely won't be. So, anyways, the entire idea behind the video was that it was kind of like going back and forth between being a joke, kind of being a joke, not being a joke. There's no joke here. I mean, these are the actual numbers. Add an extra 2% maybe to be fair to the S&P 500 for if you were doing it properly, having it in the proper accounts for maximizing your returns. It was obvious. I mean, the moon was there, the Moonbreon was there. But okay, I was gonna say if I click ahead, it should move ahead. Later today, as this video goes live, if you're watching it in the first hour or two, hopefully you're not watching it while the eclipse is happening above you. But if you're in the U.S., the moon will be eclipsing the sun. I mean, I plan on doing, before you see this video, I plan on doing some little bit of pumping of my own affiliate links, which again, no cost to you. Nothing wrong with affiliate links. So at no cost to you, I'm gonna post some of my eclipse specials, some of my eclipse, like buy these Moonbreons because the moon's about to block out the sun. And maybe that's why this thing's been pumping lately. Maybe people have been buying in anticipation of the eclipse, and then they're just gonna dump on that. But anyways, yeah, here are the rates. I have long been called out as being, not really called out, I've been long described by certain people as like a Pokemon investor, and I always push back on that. I always said, no, I'm not. I'm selling it all short to intermediate term. To me personally, 5-10 years plus is long-term hold. Like me in the S&P 500 is the epitome of like true diamond hand long-term investor. I'm not selling anything in my IRAs, my 401ks until I'm at least 59 and a half. I mean, I guess if life hits me really hard and I might have to access some of my Roth contributions, you can't access the the gains without penalty and blah, blah, blah. But I truly intend to hold my traditional stuff 40, 50 plus year time frame. And that's, I know a lot of it's semantics, but to me, this stuff is inventory. This Pokemon is inventory. But stay tuned for next week. That might be changing. I might be leaning in. All my tax buckets are being filled. All my finances are in further. They're further ahead than I would have ever expected them to be at this age. I have some amount of excess stuff. Should I go out and I buy an investment property? Should I go out? I know Pokemon pretty well. And again, history has proven that it's done pretty well, especially if you can weather 5-10 year things. I did the booster box time machine video where I talked about prices. In the Patreon, I have historical prices. That there have been boxes that were down 5 years later. I don't think there's ever been a box that was down 10 years later. There have been boxes that were down 5 years later. I'm going to be building an investment palette, if not investment pallets, where I am just tucking them away somewhere deep in storage, literally 5 to 10 years without touching them. I would say without thinking about them, but I'll probably make videos about them. I'll probably make a video of literally, this is what I put on my investment palette. Part of that will be next week. And then it'll be talking about all the this versus the S&P 500, the comparison that I don't like to make. I guess that'll be like a multi video thing coming. But some of the more meme parts of this, some of the more obvious April Fool's part, like if people made it in, to be fair, if I look at my retention chart, the amount of people that made it 3 minutes and 23 seconds for my whoops. Hey editor, I didn't mean to show this. Please take this out. My retention, actually right now, as I'm talking, I'm 6 minutes and 50 seconds in. I probably have 40% retention as of right now. Probably 40% of people that click on this video or are unfortunately fed this video by the algorithm, they'll be clicked off already. So to be fair, 3 minutes and 21 seconds in, you've only heard all the bullishness. You've only heard me talking about Evolving Skies going to the moon Brion going to the moon. So half the people that clicked on the video or were fed the video didn't even see like the big joke part. They didn't get to the punchline. But if this person exists, then I guess I'm calling out this individual. If someone is making $69,420 in a year and their entire Pokemon investment portfolio is $6,400, less than 10% of what they made the year prior. I mean, this individual is making $3,000 in January, $4,000 in February, rounding up. Oh no, sorry, that's just EPN. So I've got YouTube here. So I mean, at this point, towards the end of like where I forecasted this straw man that I built to knock down, $12,000 a month. If there's anyone out there making $12,000 a month in Pokemon, saying it's better than the S&P 500, it's only going to go up, click my affiliate link, let's get rich together. All the things that I was memeing on in the last video, if there's anyone out there doing that, and then they're talking the talk, but the walk that they're trying to walk is only having half of their monthly revenue invested into this stuff, that is like the whole fake guru type thing. Check out CoffeeZilla, check out, like, there's so many of those YouTube call out channels that have made videos on fake gurus in the not in the Pokemon space, but in the crypto space, in the NFT space. Be careful. My get rich quick video, which I'll try to remember to link above, that video just a month ago now was kind of cautioning towards these same people. And I genuinely don't watch this style content. I don't watch the style content that would be at risk of producing an individual like this. But just keep in mind, you're an adult and you're responsible for your decisions. Just because someone's saying something online doesn't mean they actually believe it. Know what their incentives are, know where they make money, know what their motivations are, and ideally, in a perfect world, you could have aligned incentives with somebody. Obviously, when I'm doing a consignment for somebody, all my consignment info is below, feel free to reach out. When I'm working for my consignor, we have mutual aligned goals and incentives. If a card sells, I get my commission, they get their payout. If a card sells for $11,000, I get 1% of that, $110, and they get 99% of that payout. So if you can, and not in all aspects of life, not in all things you do in life, can you find someone with aligned incentives? But where you can, it's great. And just be aware. I'm not saying you have to. In many instances, you won't be able to. They're trying to sell something. They make money if you buy it, whether or not you actually get like the investment returns from that. Whether or not car salesman, house, a realtor. Some of them are great people, and but some of them will skim over certain things. Some of them will go high pressure sales tactics. they're not going to be the one living with a cracked foundation or whatever issue might be there 9 months, 9 years, 10 years later if you do buy that house. So just be aware. And if you're watching someone, I've actually done, the only reason I mention this, I've done some consultations with people who have 50,000, 100,000, multiple 6 figures invested in Pokemon. They've never sold anything. The only reason I'm saying it is because it's been more than one person. If it were one person and that person would feel singled out and they would know. So if you're feeling like this is about you, well, it might be about you and a few other people. Because I've literally been approached by people who do a consult. How would you go about selling this? What do I do here? And I hear some of the channels that they've followed, channels that I've never even heard of, maybe some that I've heard of. But just be cautious. I know you're adult. You need to make your own adult decisions. But yeah, just be aware that that person on the other, myself included, anytime you hear anything, like take it all in, use it to stress test your own beliefs. Like if you actually believe in Pokemon, whether or not you have your 401ks and all that, obviously that's not even applicable if you're international. But the main thing is to just be aware. Be aware of what their incentives are. Be aware if they actually believe, I mean, whether or not they believe in that, you are only going to be you're going to be subject to the risk. You're going to be subject to what you buy ultimately. And if you have so much of this just goes back to my putting all your eggs in one basket, get rich quick video. So yeah, let me continue on there. Team up. The main memes were right out the gate. The intent of me having the main memes, the main April Fools being right out of the gate, and honestly, buying $700 evolvements, guys, it could go up significantly. It could be. That's part of the irony. Part of the irony is that a year from now, I might be able to make a recap video that says Evolving Skies went from 667 and it doubled. And Team Up went from 2,000 and it's up 25% now in a year. I might be able to say that. I genuinely have no idea. I have no idea. The people who are making the top 5 investment videos every week, they have no idea either. We have an idea. We have history to kind of guide us, point us. But consumer demand is very fickle. The broader markets, I mean, if we go into a deep recession, if we go into some kind of a global broad thing, I'm not saying we're going to do that, but disclaimer, Dan's coming back. So continuing on, this is one that I think I have 200 of these. I think I have 200 of these that I got anywhere between 75 and 80. And I'm sad on them long term. They'll be coming up in my video next week. They'll be coming up whenever I reference my investment palette. A lot of these are actually housed at Troll and Toad. So I don't really have too many of those on site or in my off-site locations where I'm storing them otherwise. But this is genuinely one that I feel like relative to other things, if I were putting money in Pokemon, this would be a place that I would kind of look. This would be a place that some of that money might go. Not flipping money, not money that you need to pay your bills, not money that you need to pay your grading fees, not money that you need day to day. But if I were locking up for investment 5 to 10 years plus, as I'm actually going to do, talk about it more next week, it would be in something more like that. And feel free to ask me in the comments below. I mean, it's not going to be investment advice, but it's going to be what this channel is. It's going to be, what am I buying? What am I actually holding on to? And I think it's not necessary by any means, but if more channels had more transparency, I think that's a net win overall. I consider myself as having a quite transparent channel, and next week it's going to get even more transparent. I mean, I made a video back in the fall when I spent $100,000 in one random week. Try to remember to link it above. Most of that, the majority of that, greater than 50,000, was me funding my 401ks and IRAs. All in one lump sum, essentially. And then maybe 30 to 40,000 of that was buying Sword and Shield booster cases, which have done amazing since then. I wouldn't have expected them to do so well, but constantly, my 10 years in Pokemon, most times I've been more bearish than the market bared out to like end up doing. So yeah, let me continue on. Booster bundles. Wait, I only showed it for a second. Where is it? There we go. The booster bundles, I just don't like the massive premium that they're coming at. Honestly, most of my position in 151, I guess, is in ETBs that I bought wholesale. Wholesale with no sales tax. That's another big thing. I've talked to so many people investing in Pokemon, and I made that video, top three mistakes Pokemon businesses and investors make. One of them is paying sales taxes on items intended for resale. When you are, it's sad to say, it's a sad state of affairs when in 2024 I can say that there are funds out there, there are ETFs, there are mutual funds out there. My wife's 403b, at least years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, it had a sales load. I think her new school doesn't have that anymore, but her old school that she worked at, a 5.5% sales load. Every $100 she put in, only $94.50 actually made it to the investment. When you're working from that, and then on top of that, paying sales tax. Obviously not in the 403b, but that's essentially how a sales tax functions. If you're spending $100 investing in Pokemon, and you're paying sales tax, 9% of that up front, only $91 is making it to the actual investment, and the other money is you're just destroying yourself. All the frictional fees of selling and storing and insuring and this and that, and now you're adding an extra, depending on where you live. I mean, I know some states don't have it, but you're adding an extra 5 to 10%, 11% nearly, I think in some places in New York and California. So yeah, 151. I actually do have a decent amount of 151 UPCs. Next week, my video will probably just literally include my entire ultra modern inventory. I need to do it for my own, for myself, for my own benefit, because I've bought a decent amount of like shiny treasure. I bought a decent amount of some of the recent Japanese sets. I don't even know how many I have. I just hit up my Instagram people. I hit up Retrospecs. Hit them up on Instagram if you're looking for Japanese product. And I've just been piling cases. I genuinely don't even know how many I have. So I do need to do a little bit of an inventory, a little bit of an audit for my own good. And I might as well put that out into a video. Because when I say, like, I don't invest in this stuff, I just do business in it, I genuinely haven't seen my interactions with it over the past 10 years as investing. The first 7 years, 8 years, I was collecting. The last few years, I've been doing business at a fairly high level. I mean, $2 million in sales last year. Some people get, like, really butthurt about that. Like, $2 million in sales. That's not what I made. How much did I actually make? Some amount of 6 figures. Was it 100,000 flat? Was it 400,000? How much of it was long-term capital gains? That's all nuance that it's not that needed. But all that comes down to being between me and the IRS. Over the past few years, though, I've paid a whole lot of money in taxes, and I'm hoping to not pay quite so much in the coming years. But anyways, yeah, I think the transparency is useful, at least. To me, it's useful, but again, adults spending their own money how they see fit, whether the person on the other side actually is telling the truth, whether they actually care about you, whether they, it's all kind of irrelevant, because ultimately you are the one making that decision as an adult with your own money, and you need to be responsible for that. I think so many times, and I'm not, if somebody's lying, cheating, stealing, that's obviously bad, that's wrong. But I'm a huge advocate for personal responsibility. So personal responsibility, if someone out there only has $6,000 in product and they're making $70,000, $100,000, $200,000 off affiliate revenue, like that straw man that I built in my video last week, and you listen to them and you buy stuff and you decide to buy stuff and it doesn't perform well, or you need to fire sell it 2 years later when the prices are down, because I mean, that's happened. That's happened historically, and you need to sell it to pay your rent, to pay this, that. That's your own fault. A lot more people need to quit externally blaming things, and they need to take personal responsibility for their actions and inactions. So let me continue on. Let me get my notes pulled back up as I continue to go, just to make sure I don't hopefully miss any part of my rant that I wanted to cover. So after that, I did Fusion Strike Booster Box. This one is like one of the epitome. It literally just spiked like crazy. Like, if you were not buying it 2 months ago, when it was there at the Pokemon Center, when it was achievable for 160, 150, 140, 130, I tend to go away from stuff that just went up 40%. If I have it and the price goes up 40%, I'm more likely to sell it. If I don't have it, I'm less likely to buy it because the price just went up and it's the same thing. Fundamentals may have changed because now it's no longer in stock on Pokemon Center. But generally speaking, I would be more prone to be less wanting to buy something like this. So this was one of the bigger meme ones. It literally just went up 40%. A lot of times things will kind of jump up to a new plateau, stay fairly stagnant for a while. Sometimes they'll take a slight dip as a lot of the people go to list. One thing that's common in Pokemon, the market, the amount of items actually listed for any given booster box, especially once it's a few years old, for any given single, for any given graded card, very thin. Like if you have $10, $20, $50,000, you can buy out most any individual box, most any individual, like barring maybe the brand new one. But if you're looking at a box that's a year or two old, if you're looking at a single, even some of these cards with 5,000-10,000 pops, you might be able to buy out literally every single card on eBay, buy out every single active listing on TCG Player, buy out every, up to a new floor that's double, triple, quadruple for less than like 10, 20, 50 grand. So be very careful. Be very careful on all this. I would be less likely to buy one of these. I do have some of these. And as crazy as it sounds, I'm not selling them at their new prices. Like, I don't need the cash flow. I actually have more cash flow. That's part of what my video next week is going to be. I have more cash flow than I really have to put anywhere right now, because my time is more limited. I've talked about it many, many times. Maybe I'll link a video here. Some people are more rich in time. Some people are more rich in money. Right now, business is doing really well. The market's booming, and my time is extremely limited because I'm working nights. Personal thing, it'll be done by summer. Summer I'll be foot off the gas, fisherman lifestyle. I'll be traveling a bunch, but back into the fall when school starts up, I'm going to be back to working days, working full schedules, and I will have more time. I will have more time to be trying to buy big collections and this and that. But as of right now, for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, I guess 5 months brings us to next school year. So for the next 3, 4, 5 months, I'm not really buying much of that stuff. So putting together a couple investment palettes for kicks, not just for kicks. I think it'll make interesting videos. It'll allow me to finally be able to say, like, yes, you guys are now right. You were wrong earlier calling me a Pokemon investor, but now you're right. Now you're right. Now I'm a Pokemon investor. Continuing on, battle styles. So this is one that is less of a meme. I actually shout out Ray, shout out Shining Cards and Collectibles. He sent a link in Discord the other day. Multiple different Discords are out there, but I think he posted a couple different places. Game Nerds has had $100 Battle Styles booster boxes. Obviously, that's a $600 case. This is $700 right now. So whether it's come slightly up, whether that was a sale slightly below market, a little bit of both maybe. But I didn't buy from there because they were going to charge me sales tax, and I did a quick look on eBay. I believe I bought from Sassy Auto, actually. I bought like 4 more cases. I think I bought from one of you guys, from a viewer or from somebody who found me on Instagram. I think I bought like 4 more cases on top of that. I might have 8 or 10 cases of Battle Styles, and I'm just sitting on them. I'm going to tuck them away in a pallet. I think I'm going to keep, we'll get into it more into the nitty gritty next week, but I'll show you all I have, and I will show you what is hitting those investment pallets that's being tucked back. And some of it's my money, some of it's outside money, some of it, not going to name the individuals, but some people in my personal life, potentially some other people in Pokemon. I'm going to be like building some investment pallets and sitting on them 5, 10 plus years. I'm going to be, after all my other stuff's done, I'm going to be a Pokemon investor. So yeah, Battle Style booster box cases. Over 2 years old. Could they reprint more? Absolutely. Evolutions has shown that they could print 3, 4, 5 years later, but I'm leaning towards not. And the thing is, all this, like all my day-to-day stuff is taken care of, and I've got more money. Like 151 Japanese actually too. Let me I think I'm done with all that. So yeah, let me get out of this video. Let me go back. Let me go back close. Let me take off the April 1st thing. 151 Japanese just came out, and I think it's like, if I were a better YouTuber, I would have an 8.5 minute video, and I would make 2 or 3 of them a week. And I'm not dogging on people that like make a lot of videos and do all the market updates. It's actually a great business. I made a video, which I'll link above, that that talked about all the aspects of my business. I think I called it How to Scale, or I think I called it Making Money in Pokemon, and the thumbnail said How to Scale on it. But I talked about making money through affiliate links, through Patreon, through that kind of money is infinitely scalable. If I'm making this video takes the same amount of work. I mean, I don't do any editing. I don't do any fancy stuff. It takes me about an hour. Record for half an hour, do the title, take the thumbnail from Ernesto, pop that on, do all the timestamps. Say it takes me an hour. That same hour, if the video gets 1,000 views, maybe I make $11. If the video gets 1,000,000 views, I make $11,000. That money is infinitely scalable. Put in one fixed amount of work, and then you get rewards based on, same as Patreon. I mean, I do my weekly office hour. I do my monthly thing. Whether or not there's 1,000 people in that office hour, in that monthly meeting, or whether there's 1 or 10 people, it's the same amount of work for me, right? I guess maybe managing a little bit more like the Discord, more moderation if there were more people, but you get what I'm saying. Whereas if you're buying and selling, if you're investing, like if Battle Styles 2X's, I'm only going to make 2 times what I put in. Like I have to put in more and then I have to sell more on the back end. It's 1-to-1, like the amount of what you put in, what you get out. It's not as scalable. There's a limit to how high you can scale it. So I had a whole 40-minute video probably on that alone. But yeah, let me make sure I covered everything. Pokemon YouTube investors have gone too far. That's kind of how I came. The worst case scenario, as I said, when somebody's pumping something, worst is like the crypto NFT rug pulls, where the person telling you to buy it is not only not owning it themselves, but they're owning it and selling it to you. They're the one person who owns it in the entire world because it's a crypto that they just made, and then they dump it on you, and then they pull the rug away and they're gone forever. Like that's the worst case scenario. And somewhere in between, all these shades of gray that we talk about. There are the people who talk about, hey, do this, I'm doing this. They're lying about doing it. Maybe they're talking as if they're doing it a ton, but they're not doing it as much as they could be. And this is not pointed towards anybody. The only type of content that I watch, like the majority of the type of content that I watch is this type of content. And the few channels like that I watch, they actually show receipts of them buying stuff. They actually show them putting the product on their shelves. How much it is, how much they, like, I don't know, I don't care. This is not about them. I am doing, in 2020, 2021, there were people doing very bad things like pumping the $1,000 EVs, pumping the $1,000 Pikachus. Some of it might have been out of stupidity. They didn't own it either. So they were saying like, oh, it's going to go, Evolutions is going to go to 2,000 after it just went to 1,000. Maybe they didn't own any either. Like maybe they were just dumb. They were just wrong, proven more dumb in hindsight. I was clearly dumb because I sold all my Evolutions before like 500, before 600, 700, 1,000. I was dumb selling it too early. Some of them were dumb talking about how it was going to 2x again. And whether or not they owned it, it's like, at some point, who cares? I'm going to give my disclaimers but I'm going to try to do less. And I'm going to give my transparency. And it just is what it is. Watch this stuff. Stress test your own beliefs. Use it to guide your own business. Look at my mistakes. Look at my wins. Look at what I'm doing. Don't copy me 1-to-1. But like use it to, oh, hey, well, Dan's doing this. Does that make sense? Does that make sense for me? Because there can be this thing too. We're all playing same arena, but different games with different rules. There are things that make sense for me, that are right for me, that would be very stupid for you, and vice versa. So there is not one like universal truth. There is not one universal best thing to do. There is not one, even if you want to park $10,000 in something today and hold it for 10 years, there is not one best thing for everybody because of tax implications, because of this, because of that. There are different answers for different people. So yeah, I'm just going to start deleting out my notes as I know that I covered them. And next week, I guess I'll cover this one more next week. Whether or not I'm going to be like gatekeeping Pokemon investing, I feel like my video might be taken that way, and maybe it should be. Maybe it should be, but we'll cover that next week. So drop a little spicy tease. The video was not directed at anyone in particular. One funny thing, some amount of April Fools went out there and clipped the video and sent it to people. And if they thought, like, if you watch that video and you thought it pertained to somebody, you don't have high opinions of that person. Like, that's not me saying anything about that person. That's you as their viewer saying something about that person. So that was just a little funny. It's like, I don't know what more to say than that. Aligned incentives, know their motivations. Yeah, I think next week I'm going to do the Pokemon investing video, and I'm going to show you how I would do it if I did it. I'm actually doing it, and this is how I'm actually doing it, is what it's going to be. Yeah, the disclaimers aren't so sexy. The disclaimers aren't so fitting into 12-minute videos. I think if people find my backlog of videos, there's plenty of disclaimers there. Maybe I'll keep something short in the description. But yeah, I think Dan's going to be trying to get off the fence more. Dan's going to be more like, I'm doing XYZ. But my budget video too. Actually, my budget video is something that I need to do. It's very relevant to my business, how much money I spend. And so that video is going to come in the next month or so, hopefully. Hopefully sometime in April. Was pretty busy with taxes. Hopefully that stuff, I'm going to have a big expenditure for that going out. But yeah, I'll drop this at the very end, my own little self-promo. I am a sealed investor now. You'll find out the details next week. I'm buying your modern sealed. Just in the past 4 or 5 weeks, I've had multiple people reach out to me. Oh man, I saw you mention in a video in a live stream, you're buying modern sealed at like 80% plus. I'm buying some at 90, 95%. If it's something that I want 12 cases of and I only have 6 cases of, I'll buy it at 95%. Like I will buy it right up. Like I'm buying it anyways. I might as well just, so depending on what you have, I'm not talking like pins. I'm not talking like, I'm talking booster box cases, maybe some ETB cases, but mostly just booster box cases. 80, 90, 95% if they're ones that I need, if they're ones that are harder to get that I need. But yeah, so hit me up. Feel free to email me. Contact me on my contact form on my website if you're selling. Loose packs too. So I don't want tins. I don't want collection boxes. I get enough of those. I have to break them all down. The labor involved in that is a limiting factor. So if you have loose packs, I'm perfectly fine with loose packs. If you broke down ETB, you broke down collection boxes, I will buy loose packs of Sword and Shield sets, of Scarlet and Violet sets, 90% of TCG player. So hit me up if you've got deep quantity. I can't say any quantity, but if we're talking like 5 figures in dollar amount, I wouldn't want to put $100,000 into sealed loose packs. But if we're talking 10, 20, 30,000, absolutely could do that. So yeah, feel free to hit me up. Yep, I think that's everything then. 30 minutes. We got a solid damn video here. Back to normal, covering that silly whole April Fool's thing that happened there. But yeah, that's gonna be everything. Feel free to like and subscribe if you've watched this far. 90% chance you're already liked and subscribed. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week's video. I'm really looking forward to the Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles spending video and talking about the whole Sugar Mama. Talking about that one might be a really long video, but I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, that is everything I have for today. I hope everyone understands what I was saying and the fact that last week was a meme and wasn't targeted at anyone and all that, but it is what it is. So I will catch you all later.